and welcome to another episode of Every Day is a Yay. Today's special guest is Saloni! Woo! She's a really good friend, y'all. I'm so excited for this episode. She is an actor, a producer, a director, a writer. She does it all, baby, okay? And today we're going to talk about living into your potential. So, Saloni, tell them more about the icon you are, period.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, Jewel said all that stuff about me. That's also true about her. So, yeah, like Jewel mentioned, these past few years, I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to try different things and wear different hats. And I think that each role I've been able to have helps me in the other role. So, like, being able to act helps me as a director because I know what it's like to be an actor. So I honestly think that the more experiences we have, the more like hats we get to wear, the better we can work with other people because we know what it's like to be, you know, at the top or working under someone, you know? So then you have like that empathy when you work with other people. So yeah.
So before we dive in,
Yes.
we have a special segment.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
Ah!
Yes! It is the Goblin of Smile!
Oh
So go ahead, pick a question. Any question.
I mean, this question has a smiley on
Yeah,
it.
period.
So I feel like, what food could you eat for the rest of your life? Good question.
Okay.
What's funny is I'm thinking like realistically, but then I'm also thinking like if I eat this one food, I'd probably just like die eventually.
What?
I feel like my like I want to just say like pizza, but like
Ooh.
I know that's just not gonna sustain me. So
But that's okay though. You
my
like
life
it.
will just be short. But yeah.
For me, no, I'm like the same way. So for me, my addiction right now is spicy pork tacos from Soul Tacos.
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
never get tired of them.
Yeah.
And I can always like vary how much lime juice I put in them. Okay, let's dive in. All
Yes.
right. So
Yes.
when we're talking about living in your potential, you just go after things. And
Yeah.
all the content you create is so dope.
Thank you.
Where does this come from?
Yeah, so it's definitely something I've thought about. And the more I think about it, I do think of a pivotal moment that happened in college
Yeah.
when, you know, freshman year, I was dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
not feeling very confident or just secure in myself. And then there's this quote, if you don't believe in yourself, you're robbing the world of what you can achieve, that really spoke to me and made me feel like if I don't believe in my own power, then I'm actually doing everyone else a disservice. So it kind of made it less about like my own insecurities because it was almost like it's selfish if I don't try. And
Wow. Wait, that's a word. It's selfish if I don't try. Go ahead.
Yeah. And not just in like a professional standpoint, but actually like in college, some of those insecurities also came in like social settings in a way where I was like, I don't know if I like want to go to this party. But then I flipped the switch and I was like, well, actually, if I go to this party, I might make someone else feel more comfortable because I'm there. Instead of making it be like, oh, I'm worried about like, you know, like fit, you know, so it kind of just like allowed me to honor myself and believe that like I can make things better for other people. And when I think in that mindset, it allows me to do a lot more because I'm not like overthinking, like, am I embarrassed, you know, like all the like negative self-talk goes away when I make it about
like
other people.
The impact. No, I love that because
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to be like, okay, me. This is like why I shouldn't do it. But it's like when you flip it as in like, oh, I'm robbing the world of like what my impact could be.
Yeah.
Then it's like it's a more positive motivator to go after it, and it makes sense because of just kind of thinking about all the things you've done with like the content you've created from acting to directing to being on stage, like how we met with We Will Slay. Like
I also think a part of it is just like overcoming the fear aspect. I think a lot of the work that we both do requires us to be visible and like people watch us, and that means that, and I'm curious to know how you deal with this too, but like I think I'm sure we've all had, you know, the fear of like posting out of like judgment. And maybe you've even heard someone say something to your face or behind the back, or there's a fear like, oh, like what are people saying, and like that I think is a huge detractor for people, like people who I think are so talented and I want them to like do certain things because I want the world to be able to have their impact, but
you know, they're holding themselves back.
Yeah, and I think part of it is because of how easy it is to just be afraid of what people are gonna say.
Yeah, no, I feel see what you said that, because even, okay, so, you know, recently I just posted a video of me singing, period,
Okay,
right?
yes,
You know, period. But like, I get really self-conscious about that, because I'm like, okay, well, I can't sing like this and this. This is just my voice. Like, should I just put it out there? But I'm like, no, I'm going to put it out there, because I just want folks to smile.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel the same way just with any type of content. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, I do, like, 10,000 takes, and then I pick just one just because it makes me feel a little bit better. But it's just, like, again, I'm going to go back to, like, how you frame it as, like, I don't want to rob the world of my impact, because I feel like if I had that mindset, it'd be, like, that much less takes. Because it's, like, doesn't matter. We're people. We're real. And I do feel like the more we put ourselves out there, the more we make others feel seen and hopefully inspire them to do the same thing in their own right. So, no, I can definitely relate. It's something I still work through, which is weird, because, like, we're doing this. We're all out here, right? But I think it goes back to, like, hopefully this inspires someone else to, like, go after it, or at least think about, this is what your light is to the world. And you should be able to explore that.
And honestly, hearing you say all of that, something that also makes me think of is I also think people, like, if I'm like, oh, you should start a YouTube channel, people will be like, there are already so many YouTube channels. Like, I think people
That's
also
so discouraging. Like, people, don't tell me.
Like, people get in their head about, like, what's already out there. And that's, like, where I think we also all have to really, really lean into our own uniqueness, where, like, there can be, like, 10 other Indian actresses. Yeah. They can all even look like me. But
there's only one you. Yeah. That's
like,
the thing.
There is so much nuance in, like, how we grew up, how we, like, just, like, the small things. And I think part of that is, like, maybe getting to know ourselves on a deeper level so that we realize that, like,
what's been that journey for you to get yourself?
Yeah.
Ooh, we can go deep, because, like, what has that been for you? Because I feel like the way we've been growing, like, we've had our own journeys. Yeah.
It's been, it's taken a lot of different things. I think a few things, like, I definitely, I'm super sensitive. I'm an incredibly sensitive person. So what that means is, like, what people say really affects me. And, you know, like, I've had people close to me in my life, like, say certain things about how I am, and that like, kind of, it's hard when you're like, oh, like, I don't think I'm that way, you know? And I think that
I've been there.
there's this like movie or something I saw on TikTok where this I don't know if it was it was probably like a fictional story where this girl gets into a car accident and then she forgets everything. Like, she has memory loss. She doesn't remember anything about her life. Yeah. And then different people in her life are visiting her in the hospital. Like, her boyfriend, her parents, her best friend, her siblings. World. Yeah. And she asks all of them, like, tell me about myself. Wow. And they're all saying different things. And
that's real.
It's interesting because I do think that there are characteristics about ourselves that probably shine through in all of our relationships, but also, like, in my house, I'm a younger sister. Yeah. You know? So, like, I'm very much like the child. I'm very much like the kid. But then I go out into the world and I'm, like, in spaces with, like, high schoolers, and they look up to me as, like, a mentor. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, like that, you know? So it's kind of like when the world sees you in so many different ways, it can really make you just take on, like, everybody else's perspective of you. Like, oh, they think I'm super confident, or they, you know, but until we, like,
look at ourselves,
like, and, like, just, like, separate that. And I think a huge part of that is, like, journaling. That has been journaling for me. Yeah. I just, like, release on the page, and it's, like, unfiltered, and I'm like, nobody's ever gonna read this, but it's out of my mind. It's, like, so cathartic and therapeutic.
That's the word, cathartic. Yeah.
So all those things have helped me get a better understanding of, like, who I am, and also knowing that I can change who I am. And something I'm going to bring up is, like, I think that there's certain characteristics that, like, my friends might describe me as, but I realize, like, when I think about my relationship with my parents as well, I might not show up in that same way to them, because in a way where I think that there are things I could do better with certain people in my life who I kind of, they're always going to be there for me.
Like your family.
Yeah, your family, exactly.
Yeah, that's something I also learned in my self journey, is, like, what you said, like, everyone has different perceptions of you, but that doesn't always have to be you. You have the ability to change. Like, people will see me, they'll think I am a positive person. So that's not right. But different things have kind of encouraged me to be like, okay, but what does Jewel actually feel like? What is Jewel's actual boundaries? And I just feel like what you're saying, because that's something I'm even trying to still carve more space to just have that reflecting time. But I'll say part of the reflection I did is what led to this show, because I was like, what really makes me happy and what gives me joy and what doesn't mean to go after it. And I was like, you know what, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this thing. Period. Yes.
There's just so much noise, and I don't know if you felt like this, but I've had times where I've really just been like, I need to delete Instagram. Like, and it's not even because anyone is doing anything wrong. It's really just because it's the noise. It's almost like I'm just thinking about, like, I could just be going through my day just thinking about like 2 things, and all of a sudden I know like 10 things about 10 different people, in a way where I think it like just adds to the amount of information. Like, I feel like there's some statistic about just how much information that we take in on a daily basis that's so different than even 20 years ago because of
social media. And it's social media is LinkedIn is social media, which is wild to me. Like, it's us always in our faces. And if we don't measure it, that's when it gets a lot.
Like, I think that's something I'm definitely working on, just allowing myself to digest it, but in a more controlled way, because the comparison where you could feel so set on the way you're doing things and like the journey you're on, and then you could see someone else just like quit their job and decided to travel, or someone else just like got a new job, or someone else has stayed at the same job that you were at and now they just got promoted, and it can make you question for a second.
And then you're like comparing.
Like, should I have stayed at this job, or should I quit my job and travel? And I think it's okay to be able to get affected by other people, but
don't let it shape your path.
Don't let it convince you that what you're doing is not enough already.
Yeah. So you've created a lot of great content about what it's like to come up in any industry. And it's often comedic. Y'all, she's a whole comedian. She's at the Laugh Factory. Like, y'all check her out, period. Y'all give an applause. Okay, period. What inspires you to like create that kind of content and also just like kind of go after it?
Yeah. Honestly, content-wise for me actually started on YouTube. Way back when. You were just talking about how you grew up playing the piano. So did I. And some of the first videos I ever posted on my YouTube channel were just me playing the piano. And now I'm about to be doing it. But in a way, that was pretty safe for me, because in my mind I was like, if anybody like dislikes these videos, it's just because like my piano playing is bad. It's like not about me. So like that was kind of like my gateway. And I remember I made a comedy video like 2018. It was like when you're single on Valentine's Day. And I really like, I posted it on YouTube. That was fine. And I was thinking about posting it on Instagram. And I remember being really worried about that, because I was like, because I knew I have so many more people on Instagram who don't really know me, and I didn't know if it was gonna just be weird. And I remember just asking a friend, I was like, should I post it? And she was like, yeah, it's funny. And I was like, oh my God. And like literally that's like, it's like sometimes you can believe in yourself. If I already had that within me of like, yeah, it's funny, that confidence, and posted it, like that could have worked. But like, honestly, in that moment, I did need another external person to give me that validation in order for me to do that. Success and validation definitely builds on each other. So I think once I was able to like post that one comedy video and see people like it, that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, like I can keep making this kind of content. Let's say like, you know, I asked that friend like, hey, like I'm thinking about posting this on Instagram, and she was like, you shouldn't, like, you know? Then maybe I wouldn't have. So it's kind of a twofold where like, you have to be able to be so strong and sure of your own voice.
So you don't let people impact you.
Dude, I think life is hard. Life is a yay, but it can be hard. Life is a yay and hard in a way that like I need these like mental frameworks, and I need these like tools in order to ensure that I'm not thinking that life is hard, and I'm able to think that like life is a yay, because I have things that can help me when I'm like, oh, it's getting tough.
I'm like, the waters are rising.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm just so grateful for the content you have out there.
Thank
because
you.
it makes someone's day that much brighter. It makes someone that much more inspired and ready to go after what they want. And I love what you were talking about, like the importance of just being reflected and being open and sharing those lessons. Because sometimes like, wow, okay, it's not just me. Okay, growing is real. Like, it's not easy. It could be painful, but it happens. And growth is important. So I just appreciate you and everything you create.
Thank you. And honestly, I get a lot from other people too. I get inspired by other people's stuff on LinkedIn all the time. So it's kind of like nice to think that, like, I can do this for someone else. Have you heard of the show Never Have I Ever?
Oh my goodness. Girl, let's talk. I'm not fully caught up.
You gotta catch up.
Wait, have you finished the whole
season?
Yes,
this last season was so good.
Oh my God. I'm like at the beginning of the second to last season. Girl, actually go ahead. I'm gonna watch anyways. Go ahead.
So when they were casting for Never Have I Ever, they did an open casting call.
Okay.
So obviously I auditioned.
You would have been amazing as the main character.
Just like every other brown girl I know.
Period.
And it was so cool that they did an open call like that, because it really, I feel like there's a lot of girls who like want to be actors, they want to be in entertainment, but like, how do you get there?
Exactly.
If you don't know someone who does it, you don't know how to get there. And there's just so many things people don't know. So it was so beautiful that they like just did this open casting call and anyone could submit. And the person who did get the lead was just someone who submitted to this open casting call. She was not like a well-known actor before. This is her breakout role. And that experience also really inspired me, because I have always known growing up that I had an interest in acting. And that kind of showed me that, like, okay, the next time there's like a casting call that comes through, how do I get to be even more prepared? And sometimes I struggle with, like the idea of like going to the gym. Like, it's like, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard to do anything when you don't know exactly what the result is going to be, or the end result is going to be.
100%.
But I think that like that YouTube, building my YouTube channel example, lending to me then eventually being able to intern at Six Flags Great America, is what, like, when you build your building, who's going to see it?
Exactly.
But at least you'll have a building.
Exactly. I love that you say that, because I think something that used to get in my way, especially like earlier in college, was like overthinking and being like, I have to wait till this is perfect, or I have to wait to build, versus building and figuring it out at the same time. And I think that's something I hope everyone takes away from this iPod, period, is that you may not know where you're going, but it's important to keep building, because you never know what's going to happen. It was around this time earlier. It was when we were trying to produce How We Got Here. I kid you not. It was like month of February. It was either after shooting. No, I think it was after filming. I'd wake up with anxiety, being like, am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to make it? Because I had this big goal for the show and myself. I still have big goals, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but I got so caught up, it ran my life. And I don't know when I stopped. It was definitely like a good couple weeks that was like consistent. But I think part of what helped me get back to, I'm just gonna live life, is like, we're alive, we're living. Like, life is worth living. Spend less time about the end goal, because you want to be able to be happy when you get there, and you don't know what getting there actually looks like. So I can definitely relate to that.
So that reminds me of actually this other concept that I saw on TikTok recently, this idea of like, imagine it's 10 years from now.
Ooh. Okay, imagining.
So you're 26?
Yes.
Okay.
Period.
So you're 36.
Yes.
And a genie comes and is like, Jewel, you get to just live your life from 10 years ago for like 24 hours. Right? And then and you're going to want to go back. And that has helped me so much, because like in the day to day when I get caught in my head, it's like
good.
It's like I'm like thinking like, actually, like I'm 36 and I just get to be my 26-year-old for one day. Like, even with like some of like my insecurities, like when you look back at old pictures, or like I look back at old memories and be like, wow, like I remember not like feeling kind of like sad at that time, but now I look back and I'm like, she was so cute. Like,
exactly. Like, she was having a good time. She was living. She didn't know about these dresses.
We're only getting older.
And
like one day we're going to look back at this time
and be like, I want to go back.
And so that also actually helps me with rejection in a way where like there's been
go into that.
There's been certain opportunities, whether it was like an acting opportunity or something that like I really wanted, and then when I didn't get it, this part of this also deals with like the trust in the universe, and sometimes it's the only way I can make sense of rejection.
I love it.
It's believing that like, you know, if I had gotten that opportunity, maybe that would have caused more problems for myself. Like maybe I would have been like insecure, or like things in that environment wouldn't have, like I wouldn't have been able to do it the full justice as I could maybe a year from now. So it's kind of like sometimes when you don't get something, it's because the universe doesn't want to put you in that position because it might hurt you even more. Yeah. Versus 100%. You know, so it's kind of like
I'm on the same way where it's like everything is meant to happen the way it's meant to happen. It may not always be pretty. But I feel the same way because it kind of helps you just be able to continue to move through life despite rejection. They're not really rejections. They're more like guiding pillars. Like redirection? Redirection, yes. Not rejection, redirection. That's the thing.
I will say it also does require that mindset. Yeah. And the acceptance that it's hard. Yeah. Because I mean, I've been in situations where, you know, something happens and I'm like questioning it and I'm like, why? And you know, and I feel that resistance within me. So it's not easy by any means, but it's almost like the only way to really go forward is if you can like let go of that resistance. So yeah, but I don't say all of this to say that I think it's easy. I just think it's like necessary. Exactly. Otherwise, like we will just kind of stay where
and just kind of be stuck. Yeah. In like what the world is trying to put in. When it's like, no, I'm gonna be a light. Yeah. And that's the way I'm gonna see things. Yeah. Period. So like, what do you want your legacy to be? That's like so big, but you get what I'm saying. Like, what does that look like for you, or what's kind of your guiding pillar of like the impact you want to keep having?
Great question.
Look.
I think it's important to me to just continue to be able to lean into like what I think my natural strengths already are. So like there's just certain things that come more naturally to me, and because they do, I want to keep being able to like work on them in order to like give back to other people. Yeah. And I also think that kind of way of living helps me a lot more because like I can be having like the worst day. Yeah. But again, if I do something for someone else, selfishly, it makes me feel better. Yeah. Because, you know what because like...
You feel joy when you give joy. Exactly. Same page. Exactly. Yeah. So, I love that. Yeah. Girl, yes. So, period. Y'all, can we applaud for the positivity? The positivity, period.
I think we can always be learning from the interactions we have. Yeah. I think we can always try our best to show up in our relationships based on past experiences. Like, and I think we can always give a little kindness to ourselves, knowing that we're only human. Yeah. So we're not ever going to do anything perfectly. And I think for me, I don't ever want to get so caught up in a dream or what I think should have happened that I don't like just stay where I am. Like what I want my legacy to be, I just want to continue to be in this space where I am open to letting things happen and letting things change for me, and I keep showing up for other people in a positive way, and just make sure the people around me know like how much they mean to me, and I guess relationships are just really important to me, and I think that relationships also have had a huge part in my success in my professional life, because even how we met. Literally we met because my friend saw your post about a casting call. Yeah. And she knew that stuff I was into, and then she told me about it.
I'm so happy because look at us now. Yeah. Like literally if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here.
This journey is not solo. Like you need your community.
100%. And you've supported me so many times, even with the premiere last year. Like girl, like you're that person I can always call. So like, thank you. Like I appreciate you.
And thank you, because you are someone who goes fearlessly after what she wants.
Thank you. And I think I've been trying.
And it's been really cool to be able to see everything play out up to this point and just know that like we're 26.
Period.
Once
She's
upon a
26.
time, we were 20.
I know, right?
And someday we're gonna be 36.
Exactly.
And just it's cool to just be on the journey with you and see where you go.
This has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
Like, for real, that was such like a calm, but like for real, like just digesting it all. And I know there's a ton of amazing people watching this. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I have a lot of, there's like the iPhone feature where now every time you like lock your screen, it can be like a different photo.
Yeah.
So my lock screen right now is kind of different reminders for myself to have throughout the day. And
I love that.
one of the reminders I have on here is like, it's like a mirror, and it's like the world is as you are.
Oh,
in a way where like just recognizing that, like, again, like we're human. We can't control certain situations. We can't control when someone decides they don't want to be in our life anymore. We can't control when a job decides that they don't need us anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's so much out of our control, and recognizing when those things happen, it's natural. We have to like go through the processes. But after kind of some time has passed, realizing that like the world is as we are. So the longer we hold on to like negative emotions, the longer we hold on to pain and hurt, that's what we'll keep seeing. And also the idea that like you can decide how you want to see the world,
Exactly.
Like the glass half full, glass half empty type thing.
Period.
So
Exactly.
It's
just perspective.
Yeah, like I just think that like our mind is the most powerful thing, and it definitely takes work, and it definitely takes practice, and maybe it's a post-it note on your mirror like Jewel
Literally,
has. Maybe it's your
them.
phone screensaver. So
Period.
like I would say like if that kind of like way of thinking doesn't come as naturally, like put up signs, surround yourself with people who like give you that kind of energy, and when you're feeling down, like, just support you. So yeah, I mean, I just think there's a lot of things that I do to just make sure that I'm living, and I'm not living in the past, and I'm not living in the future. I'm just living in the moment.
Period.
Yeah.
This, honestly, I feel like this answers my next question of like,
Yeah.
how do you aim to make every day a yay?
I try not to define my day based on how it started. I think doing something for someone else will make you feel better.
I love that.
And then just like thinking of like one thing you're grateful for that day will also make you feel better.
She's amazing.
Thank
I feel so full.
Good.
So how can we support you?
Yeah. So I am a master of networking on Instagram.
Okay.
So follow me. I would love to follow you back. So that intro message telling me more about what you're doing, and then seeing how our relationship can build together. Instagram is the best way to support me, and I'm really open to just building relationships on there, because that's kind of how I've used it.
Period. Yay! Girl, honestly, I'm so happy you're on the show, and I love how you focus on perspective and living in your potential. So let's continue to live life, because
Yes, every day is a yay!